What's happening, team? What's happening, team? Happy New Year. It's my first video of 2022 and I haven't posted for about a month because I've been busy filming other stuff. But I've travelled down to South Wales this morning to a place called Porthcawl or Porthcawl. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm shooting lighthouses. The Porthcawl Lighthouse is just over there. The weather report said 35 miles per hour winds and I checked the high tide for around 8:30 this morning, so I got up at the crack of dawn to get here. And right now there are some waves, really high waves, crashing over this lighthouse back there. So let's get cracking. Whoa! The wind is really picking up now. Now, camera settings for this shot. Now, this is a tricky one because the waves are crashing just before the lighthouse. So I don't want to shoot wide open on this lens because I want to try and keep both elements in focus. So around f2.2, I want to freeze these waves in action as well. So shutter speed is 640th to 800th of a second, depending on the light conditions. And ISO I'm going to try and keep as low as possible, around 250 for really good quality. You never know, some of these images might end up in my portfolio. Who's hoping? I've dialed in my focus point on the lighthouse and then switched over to manual focus so there is no delay when I release the shutter button. We don't want the autofocus to hunt for focus while these waves are crashing over the wall. I'm also shooting in super fast burst mode just because you never know when that wave's going to hit. Just keep your finger on the buzzer. I'm not too worried about these railings in the foreground because I'll be cropping to a 16:9 aspect ratio in post. Oh wow, that was a beauty. I think this shot came out really well. The sheer size and energy of the wave dwarfing the lighthouse, and the choppy sea in the background with the warm sunshine in the distance, all lend itself to a wide angle capture. Had I used a different lens and zoomed in on the lighthouse, I may have missed the top of the wave and lost that epic moment. Cheerio. Yeah. As the morning progressed, the tide began to recede and those opportunities to capture big waves started to dwindle. However, I just wanted to show you an image I took earlier that morning before I started filming for this video. I produced this photograph using 3 images and exposure blending techniques. So the base image I'll be using for the wave part of the composite. It has great energy and some nice haloing on the edge of the water spray. But as you can see, we have blown out highlights in the sky because of the high dynamic range of the scene. The second image I'll be using purely for the clean outline of the lighthouse, and the third exposure is for this beautiful dramatic sky. We can select all 3 images and then right click and choose Edit In, and then Open as layers in Photoshop. And here we have those images on individual layers. So the first thing I did was to create an inverted mask on the middle image by holding the Alt key and clicking the mask icon. Then using a white brush with a soft edge, I simply painted back in the lighthouse from beneath the mask. Let's switch back on the sky exposure and again create an inverted mask layer and paint back in the sky with a nice big soft brush. Then with the flow at about 10%, I'll gradually bring back detail around the wave. Now I'd like to add a bit of dimension and depth to the lighthouse by using a curves adjustment layer. Drag up the curve, invert the mask with Ctrl-I, and then with a pen tool, draw a simple path around the left side of the lighthouse. create a selection with a 1 pixel radius, then swap back to the brush tool with flow at about 10% and paint in the adjustment from beneath the mask. And that's just added a bit more depth and shape. And I think I'll do the same with this wall facing the sun. Hide the selection with Ctrl H so we can see clearly what's happening. Now for some colour grading using the selective colour adjustment layer. Adding some magentas into the blacks and yellows into the whites. And that's just taken away some of the green tint in this image. I think I'll just soften the exposure blend even further. And one final adjustment using Camera Raw by darkening down the luminosity on the orange slider, which intensifies the sky, and using the color grading wheels on the shadow wheel, just introduce some blues to complement the dominant yellow in this image. On the way back from Porthcawl Lighthouse, I made a stop at Nash Point, just 15 miles along the coast, where another majestic 121-foot lighthouse stands proud on a cliff top. I took this using a 50mm lens at f5.6. Thanks for watching, team, and please give the video a thumbs up, which really helps the channel to grow and keeps me inspired to make more of these videos. See you on the next one.